The Yusuba family used to be backed by the Saruki Trading Company back in their time, but when that company went down in business, the Yusuba family also went under heavy debts. That was when the marriage proposal from the samurai family came for Sumi, Miyo's mother. The Yusuba family was not in the tradition of marrying outside their family to not let the Yusuba blood grow in some other family. Even though the proposal was rejected by her father, Sumi went ahead and accepted the proposal on her own to help her family. Even though not in support, her father eventually agreed. After the marriage, the samurai family blocked any means of communication Sumi could have with them. Miyo's grandfather then takes her to the cherry blossom tree, telling her she possesses the ability of dream sight, something that even Sumi didn't have. Upon touching the cherry blossom tree, Miyo gets a sight of the life her mother had in the samurai family. All the family wanted from her was a child. So once they did have a child, Sumi was ignored even though her health was continuously deteriorating. The samurai family just wanted to know if Miyo possessed any supernatural ability. Sumi found out one night that she had the dream sighting ability, but she also knew that Miyo would be exploited. The ability was discovered by these people, so she decided to seal off her ability in the cherry blossom tree that Miyo was so fond of. Sumi knew she didn't have much time, and Miyo would encounter a great deal of trouble and sadness along under the samurai family, but sealing off her ability was the most suited option at that moment. Miyo falls back on the ground since this revelation is too much to handle for her. Kyoka is finally back to lead his team in fighting against the grotesqueries. Everyone is determined to exterminate every grotesquerie there is and put the person behind this to justice. Miyo wakes up with a jolt upon a knock on her door. Arata enters the room with a maid holding a robe in hand. He asks for her help, but the better sleep and healthy complexion are proof that Miyo's dream sight ability isn't acting up anymore. He offers her the robe that belongs to the Maiden of Dream Sight and has been descended in their family. He offers to keep her current clothes safe while she wears them. Even though Miyo was feeling a lot better, it is a fact that the place felt like a cage to her, and with every passing moment, her regrets were becoming heavier upon not telling Kyoka what she truly wanted back then, and answering as if she didn't want to go with him. Kyoka, on the other hand, is busy fighting off grotesqueries every night. The next day, during breakfast, Arata notices that Miyo is not eating her food. He asks if she has any issues or if the breakfast is not to her liking. Miyo tells him she wants the cherry blossom kimono back as Kyoka gave it to her, but Arata refuses to do so. She then asks to see or talk to Kyoka again. She tells him she messed up back then and heavily regrets not telling him the truth. She knows she can't face him, but she has to apologize to him. Arata gets mad at her insistence and tells her there is no way they are allowing her to leave the house anyway. He tells her that he waited desperately for her and is happy to finally be able to do his job of protecting her. Miyo requests again that all she wants is to see him and tell him what she couldn't do before. This time, Arata feels bad and reveals to Miyo that the Yusuba family has been given a code by their ancestors to protect the Yusuba blood and not carry out of the family to stop the abilities running in this blood from spreading out. But even so, Arata always wanted a rule of his own, something that applied to only him. This happened when a maiden with dream sight, Miyo, was discovered in the present daytime. Every time such a maiden is born, someone in the family is given the role of protecting her. That role was given to Arata by Miyo. He needs to protect her and eventually marry her as well. Arata, however, focuses on not wanting to get rid of this one role he has and protect Miyo. At night, Arata reminisces about this whole conversation, wondering why he always thought Miyo would be the same as him. Someone who had lost her purpose to live and felt hollow. But now he feels otherwise about her situation. Kyoka's team finally emerges victorious against the band of grotesqueries, but nobody expected one hidden grotesquerie to emerge and attack Goto. Goto tries fighting back, but is about to get a blow when Kyoka pushes him away and kills the grotesquerie. Even with that, Kyoka ends up getting attacked by the monster in his chest. The next day, Miyo has a chat with her grandfather about wanting to meet Kyoka, but he cannot allow her to. He tells her he is her family and apologizes for not being there for her before. Miyo expresses out the reality that she cannot easily open up to them as she doesn't even know the concept of family, which is probably why she angered her fiancé. The old man tells her he is happy that she could share this burden with him, and tells her that regretting hurting someone does not make the person hate you. He gets mad at Sumi and regrets cutting off ties with her and regrets meeting Miyo like this, but genuinely loves her like he loved Sumi. Miyo seems to understand everyone has regrets and different ways of dealing with issues like her grandfather and her mother. She touches the cherry blossom tree and feels the seal breaking completely as her ability finally travels to her body. Lastly, she sees a glimpse of her mother smiling at her with love. As Miyo gets back to reality, Arata runs up to them, telling them about Kyoka getting injured and not gaining consciousness. Miyo tries to run to see Kyoka, but Arata stops her. She tries to persuade him, so he finally decides to tell her the truth. They were ordered by Mikado to have her trapped in this place. He helped them figure out Miyo's abilities for the condition that they wouldn't let the maiden with dream sight have contact with any other person with supernatural abilities. They didn't even know what the intention was, but their desperation to save the Yusuba blood had them agree. Being someone who cannot give up on Miyo, he decides to help her get to Kyoka no matter what the circumstances. Miyo rushes with Arata to where Kyoka is. She is relieved to find him alive and wishes for his recovery when Arata suggests Miyo use her dream sight ability to find Kyoka in his subconscious and bring him back. She agrees to do whatever it takes to save him. Kyoka finds himself in a stranded place, wondering if he is dead and in hell, or if this is some kind of reality as he feels surrounded by a bunch of grotesqueries there. Arata tells Miyo that once she sleeps, her soul will leave her body and enter Kyoka's, where she needs to find his soul and try to bring it back. As everyone worries about her and Kyoka, she feels determined to bring him back with her. Miyo wakes up in a giant space, which surprises her, but the next moment, she opens her eyes again outside the samurai house. Kyoka fights the grotesqueries, wondering what is happening since he is sure he won against them and got injured while saving Goto, so what is this place? He suddenly hears Miyo's voice calling out to him, getting his attention of wanting to get to her. Miyo walks inside the samurai house and finds a little girl running around the house playing Catch Me If You Can with Miyo. Miyo runs around to find her child self in one of the rooms, but the next moment it makes her chase herself into the storage room where she used to be trapped as a child. So when Miyo enters the room, she is faced with her reflection from the last time she was trapped here by her sister and stepmother. Kyoka fights with even more violence and passion than before since he wants to meet Miyo and apologize to her for leaving her. He's determined not to die before seeing her at least once before. He even loses the hair tie she got him. The old Miyo confronts the present Miyo that she shouldn't try this hard as she does not deserve Kyoka. She drove him away with her antics as she is not good enough for him. She hurt him in return for his love and kindness, and now he is on the brink of death because of her. Hence, she is not going to see him, nor does she deserve it. The present Miyo agrees that she is not good enough for Kyoka, and that she thought being left alone is easier than having to try forming bonds with others. But Kyoka proves otherwise, and even if she is not good enough for him, she wants to be with him because the two like each other. Hearing all those positive thoughts that the old Miyo never had ever since her mother died, the old one throws out branches of thorns around herself, displaying how she is trapped in her misery and cannot get out because of the thorns. She keeps mentioning she does not deserve anything nice, and won't get to see Kyoka because she hurt him. But the present Miyo tells her she will see Kyoka and apologize to him. He showed her what happiness and kindness are, and it is not too late to change things and free herself. She walks up to her old self, even with the thorns hurting her, and moves them away to reach out to her old self. Her determination to see Kyoka suddenly makes her appearance change to a better form. She then hugs herself tightly, consoling herself that she will bring him back and live happily with him. The old self cries in hope of that happening and disappears, giving Miyo the closure she always wanted. The hair tie suddenly appears in Miyo's hands. Kyoka breathes heavily, tired of fighting the grotesqueries alone when even more of them appear there. He feels exhausted, so it is his luck that Miyo suddenly appears there and blocks out the grotesqueries from attacking them. She tells Kyoka she came to find him and worries about his wound, but what's more worrying is the appearance of more grotesqueries. Mikado appears in the cave where his followers are practicing magic to kill Kyoka, but upon hearing about the presence of Miyo, he decides to deal with the issue himself. He casts his spell and appears as a dangerous grotesquerie there, but Miyo tells Kyoka to trust her on this and leave things to her. It takes her just one spell from her heart to say, "Be gone" to the evil spirit, and Mikado is blown up in his cave too. The place suddenly turns into spring from hellish red colors. The cherry blossom tree appears behind them. Kyoka thanks Miyo for saving him even though it was his job to save her. She shows him the hair tie that guided her to him and ties it to his hair. She then confesses making a mistake for saying she didn't know what she wanted back then and apologizes, mentioning she wants to be with him. Kyoka also apologizes for acting rashly without considering her feelings. Both finally confess wanting to be with each other. Upon seeing Kyoka's finger move in sleep, everyone starts calling their names to bring them back. Miyo and Kyoka hear their names in the space and decide to head back. The two wake up sage and sound, relieving everyone, especially Goto, who jumps at Kyoka seeing him safe. Arata walks out silently, but Miyo follows him, thanking him for the help but apologizing for not wanting to return to the Yusuba house. Arata tells her not to worry when she is a family. Kyoka walks up to Arata, wanting a rematch with him, which he smilingly agrees to. The two then head back to their own home after a long time. A few days later, Miyo finally gets the chance to implement Hazuki's teachings and act like a lady at a party that they have to attend. Miyo looks beautiful in the Western dress, and before heading to the party, Kyoka confirms for the last time that they are willing to marry each other. With this love and truce, they walk ahead to enjoy the party, as well as their journey of life ahead.